Well, hello. Roy here. All right, so now that for those of you people who've actually watched the videos, now you're going to understand why I did those videos. I'm going to give you the ultimate explanation into an INFJ personality mind, so you'll understand. INFJ people are the ultimate concentrators on Earth. We are the kings of focus. Because that's all we do our whole entire lives. Our whole entire lives is based on us being deeply concentrated in one thing or another. Period. A deadly focus, in fact. I'll give you an example because I've given you guys the whole example. Anybody that's watched all of the videos that I put up, you are going to get a lesson in what it is to be INFJ and why it is that I bring up the IQ factor. This comes down to, for an INFJ person, when you lock in and focus on something, it is 24/7. You never stop thinking about it until something inside of your mind finally kind of clicks and goes, okay, we've thought about this long enough. We can let it go. That is exactly what it's like to be INFJ. INFJ, we are the masters of focus. Because once we've locked in on some certain thing, we chew it. Like a pit bull. We are locked on like a heat-seeking missile. And we will not stop until we either obliterate our target or, whatever. That's what it's like to be INFJ. For an example, I lock in on writing my story. So while I was writing my story, I wrote the whole thing out in 2 weeks. That was writing 18 to anywhere from 16 to 18 hours a day. Literally to the point of not even eating or drinking hardly. Well, I drank coffee and I smoked cigarettes while I was writing, but I didn't stop. It's just non-stop writing the whole entire time. Didn't even stop to eat most of the time until I actually started feeling sick, and then I had to eat. But that's what it's like to be INFJ. So you locked in on this thing completely, total focus. So now what happens is, like for me, just in these past few weeks, I'm doing that, and at one point in time I just feel bored. Can't keep on doing that. I need a distraction. So I pick up my 12-string guitar and play. Because it's a distraction. It's something to just focus on to take my mind off of what I'm really thinking about. So what winds up happening is I play the 12-string and I have a good time. I have a good time because singing is my first love. It is my top love in life. So I get to do something that I absolutely love and enjoy. And it takes my mind off and creates the distraction. Then an opportunity comes up to actually do a performance. And I sign the dotted line saying, sure, I'll go. I'll do it. So once that happens, my whole entire mind switches into nothing but this performance. It is now the absolute most important thing in my whole entire life. Everything else is secondary to that performance. Nothing else is as important as it is. So in the meantime, I have that going on. So now my mind is concentrated and locked on this performance. Now just prior to that, I'd already been thinking that there were certain songs that I wanted to do for this performance. And was already had the songs locked in my mind, exactly what I wanted to do. So all I did was concentrate on those songs. Concentrate on being ready for this performance and those songs. Period. Nothing else exists. So then I wind up doing something to distract myself. So what you wind up is, see, because most INFJ people, what happens is when we lock on a subject, we lock on it. Pretty much most of our focus is on it. So you figure 75 to 80% of your whole total mental capacity is locked on that subject. Completely and totally. Without any distraction or anything to take away that focus. Now, the other part of your concentration deals with all of your rest of your life routine. and everything else is being dictated by basically going through the motions of everything. So you create this distraction that's just a happy little distraction of something to help occupy the rest of your concentration. So, like for me, I started making those videos of me playing the 12 string just to do it for fun. That's literally fun because it's something that takes away having that pinpoint heavy focus on the thing. So literally when you watch the videos of me playing, that's me not trying. That is exactly what that is. That's me not trying. So everything that you actually hear on the things is me not trying. No focus on it really whatsoever. Barely any. And that's exactly what made it fun in the first place to even do it, was to be able to do it without really concentrating. So, yeah, so what if I made some mistakes here and there, because they're not what's important to me. What's important to me are those songs that I already decided to do for that performance. It's already locked in my brain that these are the songs I'm going to do. So everything else is secondary. So being inside of the video, I wasn't even there. It's like right now, I'm more focused on this conversation than I actually was in even my little video that I made about me. The only time that I was actually really present, completely, totally, my mental focus was there, was actually when I started talking about my grandmother. That was the only time that I was truly present in that conversation. We're the masters of doing that. We can go out there and talk to people all the time and meet them, and the reality is that our mind is locked in on some certain subject that we're thinking about, and it's all the time, and it's relentless. And the more focused that we are, the more, like for me, it can become deadly. Like, I've been suffering insomnia for the past 4 days because that's all I've been doing is thinking about these songs and the performance ahead. So my mind's totally on that. It's just like for me, like Facebook. Facebook is a distraction to take my mind off of something that I've already thought about for, 1,000 hours, 5 hours, 10, 20, 30, 80, non-stop. So, that's the thing, is because your brain won't turn off. It's literally, you wake up in the morning, that's the first thing you think about. It's the only thing you concentrate, it's the predominant thing you concentrate on the whole entire day, and it's the last thing you think about before you go to sleep. And that is if you can get to sleep. And that becomes the focus. That's how everything is you basically trying to find distractions to, and the reason why I brought up the IQ level just makes it worse on an INFJ, because the higher your IQ is, the more you hammer something. Because, let's face it, someone who has a lower IQ that's INFJ, they're not going to hammer at a problem as long, I wouldn't think, as another INFJ person. Or the person with a very large IQ, the thing is that you go in and after it. So, my number one focus in my whole entire life is singing and music. Period. So, my two greatest loves in the whole entire world are those two things. So, when it came to singing, I can guarantee I've sang more hours than any other human being alive. Why? I didn't have a choice. Totally compulsed to do so. Had to. I sing in 7 octaves. Yeah, because I had to. Every single thing that came along that had to do with singing, I had to do it. So I had to copy every single singer that I've ever heard in my life. Had to do it. Had to do it till I could figure out every single trick that they do. Had to do it. Compulsed to do it. And gladly and happily compulsed to do it. Because the key word is love. Love those two things. So, literally had to do these things. Had to. And if given a choice, wouldn't have done anything different. Why do I feel that way about it? Why did I have to do that? I did it for me. Didn't matter for any other reason. Why does somebody climb a mountain? You get absolutely nothing from climbing a fucking mountain. You can go climb a fucking mountain, and all you did was climb a fucking mountain. You didn't end world hunger. You didn't create world peace. You climbed a fucking mountain. That's all you did. But why does somebody do it? Well, I climbed the mountain because I wanted to. I loved it. I enjoyed it. So now if you have a mountain climber who is INFJ, that same mountain climber is the guy who's going to turn around and go, yeah, I not only climbed Everest, I've climbed Kilimanjaro, Rainier, Hood, every mountain on earth, I've climbed it. And somebody could say, why did you do that? I did it for me. I did it because I had to do it, because I wanted to do it, and it means everything to me to do it. Same thing with singing for me. Had to do it. Had to. No choice whatsoever. I had to do it because I loved singing, so I had to be completely focused on it. So then everything else in my whole entire life falls off of those two things. And because I have the 132 IQ, what this means is that I can devote 80% of my total mind power, 75 to 80%, to one certain thing, whatever it is that I'm concentrating on at the time, and the rest of my life is dealt with by that 20% or 25%. Just like in the videos, I have perfect performances that I did. I have performances that I made mistakes in because I didn't care. There you go. That's exactly what it's like to be INFJ in the first place, is because you go along and you do certain things absolutely perfectly without a hitch, while you have certain other things that, because your focus is directed somewhere else, your true focus is somewhere else, everything else kind of you either do it automatically and you do it perfectly, or you make a few flubs. But that's your life. That's exactly how you deal with things. Everything around you becomes a distraction because you are so locked into concentrating that human beings become distractions. Because you have to deal with human beings, you have to deal with their emotions, you have to deal with their feelings, and if you love the person that you're with, and you care about the person, one of your closest friends or whatever, then the relationship means a lot to you. So you have this focus on these other people, but then that becomes a distraction because it distracts you from whatever it is that your mind is locked on. You have something that you're locked on and concentrating on, but now you've got to deal with this other, you might have to deal with another issue with this person. It's just like meeting someone. An INFJ person, you cannot lie to an INFJ person. You can't do it. Because the difference is from the moment that I met you, I was videotape recording you practically. It's locked in my mind. Everything that you do, like a gambler sitting at a table that figures out the tells of all the other players, I know your tells. So every single time that you lie, I know everything that your body does, your body language when you lie. I know when you tell the truth. I know everything about you from literally watching you. It's absorbed into my brain. And so I know how you will react in any given situation. And I will know exactly how much you feel each situation because I have it locked in my head exactly what you do. And that's what it's like to be INFJ. INFJ, being an INFJ person, I can't be around a liar or anyone that I consider, to be harmful. I can't be around someone that's a harmful human being. I have to distance myself from that person instantly. Because INFJs, we are automatically good guys by default. We don't have a choice in the matter. Anything that we consider wrong, we cannot be around. We are like Alex in A Clockwork Orange. But the difference is because, could you imagine what it's like, or what it would be like to feel guilty about doing something wrong that you feel bad about, and to never be able to actually concentrate on anything else? Could you imagine what it would be like to lock onto a guilty feeling, and you can't let go of it? And so you think about it 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Yeah, you can see that as being extremely harmful. Because at that point, as it is, just having that kind of concentration, it is extremely harmful. It's extremely physically harmful to be a human being that concentrates like that. But you're INFJ, you can't help it. It's something you automatically do. You lock onto this thing and you are locked completely. And the only thing that you can hope to do is to have little distractions that take your mind off of that thing until your mind locks onto something else and you do the exact same thing again. So what happens is like with me, I know a whole lot about history. I know a whole lot about so many different things because I've always locked onto subjects to distract myself, usually from whatever my primary focus has been. I have to. Otherwise, I die. Because you literally shut down. It can literally get to the point where you shut down completely. Albert Einstein was obviously INFJ. There's no doubt about it. You know, he could walk into, like they said, he could walk into his own house and get lost in his own house. Luckily, I'm not that bad. But then he has a higher IQ than I do. So I can imagine that. God, what a horrible thing that would be to lock into something that much that you actually lose outside function because you're so locked in and focused on something. And so for me, everything is a game of distraction to either concentrate on a certain thing until I'm happy and satisfied. And it's not even a question of me being happy or satisfied. It's a question of my mind being satisfied. My mind, I have no control over this function. No INFJ person does. We don't have the control of when and how long we lock on something. It all comes down to when we are satisfied. And it's not even when we are satisfied, when our mind actually goes, okay, I'm satisfied. Are you satisfied? Yes, I'm satisfied. Let's let this go. But that's the whole thing. We can't even control sometimes what it is that our mind locks on and focuses on. And so most people have no idea what it's like to be that intense. For any of you that physically train, this would be the example. None of you train 24/7. And that's the difference is that an INFJ would pick up a weight. It would be the same equivalent as taking your weights and exercising every single hour of the whole entire day, including not eating, not drinking, just doing it over and over and over again completely for 24 hours straight, non-stop. Well, you go, but I can't do that. It would be bad for my body. It would kill me. All these other things that are going to come. Well, there you go. Welcome to the world of an INFJ. The only difference is that it's our mind that does it. Our mind locks in and focuses on things exactly like that to that point and that extent. There is no deeper thinkers on earth than an INFJ. You won't find anyone because it's all we do. It's the whole thing of our whole entire life. It dominates and controls your whole entire life. So you are automatically locked in on a subject and everything else around you is merely a distraction to whatever it is that you've locked in and focused on. So that's what it's like to be INFJ. That's why at the same time, you know, it's really hurtful because when you get around people that you really care about, one of the things is that a lot of times, because obviously a person's going to realize, well, you're not really here with me right now, are you? You know, and the automatic thing that, for an example, in a male-female relationship, it would be common for any woman to go, you're not concentrating on me, you're distant, you're so distant now, I don't feel like you love me anymore. Oh, fuck, no, I still love you, I absolutely adore you. Newsflash, with an INFJ person, if we don't like you, or if we didn't care about you, you can't be around us, period. So, the thing is that what you end up with is somebody sitting here going, well, you're so distant. Well, I can't help it. I can't control it. It's not a choice. I'm concentrated on this thing over here. Whatever it is, my mind is locked on it, and I can't help it. I can't help it. So, you know, but actually having somebody say the words, to actually, especially someone that you love or care about, to actually say the words that they think that you don't care about them is so painful that it is actually physically painful. That's what happens to an INFJ person. The stress of the situation becomes so painful, it is like taking a beating in real life. It is, but it becomes an emotional beating that manifests into physical pain. It is extreme, and it is hurtful. And so you're dealing with these issues, and at the same time, you have these distractions that you love, and at the same time, you're upset about these distractions because your mind is designed completely into doing nothing but thinking. And to be a deep thinker, you can't help it. So you either have these wonderful distractions that you're happy to be able to step away from whatever it is that you're deeply thinking about, or if it's something that's really important that you have to do, then suddenly there are these distractions that are annoying because you're so focused on this problem or this thought or whatever that you have to get it done. And so that's why, like I said about the solitude thing, I love solitude because it allows me the time to concentrate and think without any distraction whatsoever. I can be totally focused 100%. Well, almost 100%, because if I actually 100%, well, actually it's pretty close, because if I actually 100% concentrate on something, I'd die. Literally, I'd be dead. But the other hand side is just to actually be able to have this release from that concentration. So that's why, like I said, you love it and you hate it at the same time, because it's hard to get any human being that's not an INFJ person to understand what you're doing and what you're going through, because they don't understand. The other personality types, they don't have these kind of issues like that. We do. It's our whole entire life. We can't help it. It's built into our personality. We have to lock on to something and attack it until we get all the answers that we want out of that situation. So, yeah, we are the definition of deadly focus, where it can become deadly to us to be over-focused. So, going back to, like, handling people and relationships, it's like when I meet somebody. When I meet somebody, I don't like to meet people in crowds. I don't like meeting people in large numbers. Why? Because at that moment, my primary focus is whoever it is that I'm talking to. I'm trying to decide if you're somebody that's worthwhile to even get to know or get to know better. Do I want to have you in my life to be this distraction, to be an added distraction to, you know, and I'm not saying this to be bad, I'm not saying that to be mean, because like I said, some of these distractions, that I'm talking about are people that I absolutely love. Love them. You have no idea what the word love is until you've actually been INFJ, because you lock in on these people. They mean everything to you. They are so important at the exact same time. But the problem is that you have to decide if you want this person to be another person that you care about, that's going to be that other distraction, and that's going to be worthy of the time and the effort to take your thought off of whatever it is that's so important to you at the time. So then you have to really decide. So, like I said, we're like lie detectors. I'm sitting here watching you. I'm figuring out whether I'm trying to figure out whether or not you're the type of person who runs around beating up kitty cats with baseball bats, or you go around doing, I don't know, whatever. Any bad thing you could possibly think of, where you run around, suddenly, whether or not you're a neo-Nazi, or a KKK member, or a Black Panther, and I'm trying to figure out where you stand. I'm trying to figure out if you're a worthwhile human being or if you're a piece of walking refuse that deserves to die, which is how I feel about the KKK, the Black Panthers, and all of these other groups. They need to go because they're worthless. They're horrible human beings. They're not even human beings. They barely even count as human beings. They're human beings only in the sense that they have human bodies and they walk and talk. That's about it. Everything else is them being unworthy of life. And that's another thing, because INFJ people we are very judgmental of how people are and how they act and how they treat other people. We are probably the most focused on that, because again, like I said, because we have that little thing of feeling guilty about doing bad things, we really resent those people that do those things. And it is common for us to, for an example, if you're some asshole goes out and beats up his girlfriend, we're the guys that sit there and instantly think, you deserve to be harmed yourself. And it's one of those things. So for you have this attitude of like, well, I could trip this guy down a staircase and watch him go headlong down the stairs. And if he dies in the process, well, then that's God's will and him passing judgment on the guy. If the guy happens to live after falling down these stairs and taking this beating, then well, I guess he got his just desserts. And maybe in the future he'll never do that again. Karma gets you. It's a bitch. So that's how you view it. That's how an INFJ thinks of things. That's how we all think about it. We can't help it. It's locked in. It's a locked in thought. So we have to decide what kind of people we hang around with. Because if you're one of those kind of people that goes around and does, stuff like that, we can't be around you. We can't be around you because of the fact that we're a danger to you. If you're the guy, like I said, obviously we're a danger to the guy that actually, beat up his girlfriend. We're a danger. Because the thing is that we are about that far away from taking action on the asshole and teaching him a lesson. So you end up going, I just can't be around you. I don't want to mess up my own life because you're a piece of shit that needs to be flushed down the toilet. So that's exactly where the thing stands with an INFJ person. That's how we think. That's our personality type. It rules exactly how we think and deal with everything in our lives. So, like I said, when you compare the videos of the things that I did for fun, just like when, this new video that I'm putting up is actually me picking up the guitar and playing those songs that I was concentrating on that whole entire time, and playing almost flawlessly. I had 3 mistakes in the whole entire thing, and most of it was caused because some of those songs I played on electric guitar. So I know how to play those songs on the electric and exactly what to do at any given moment to get what I want. Playing the songs on a 12-string acoustic, it's different. It's a different sound. I have to alternate and change things to make things work, but or at least close to the same as what they would have been on an electric guitar. Other than that, literally by the time it's performance time for me, I'll have the songs down so perfect that, yeah. The only way that I'll have a mistake is if something that I can't control comes in, such as rubbing sweat into my eyes or having to cough. Can't control that. So, but the rest of it, yeah, it'll be completely locked in, total focus. But that's the whole thing. Most of the stuff, everything that I did in those videos before was all done by me not even really concentrating or really being involved. My mind was somewhere else. And that's what it's like to be an INFJ. That's how it is. Our whole entire lives are like that. You're locked in on something, and there's no human being that is more focused than you are on that subject at that time. And then everything else is on autopilot. And you just don't have a choice. it's not something that you can freely choose.